those that don't know me, I'm Linda, obviously. the very proud mother of the beautiful bride. And does she not look fucking amazing? I want to start by saying what a stunning venue Nicole and James have chosen for such a special occasion, and how relieved I am that my role in the planning was mostly as a willing helper. Together they've done a wonderful job making sure that this day is truly memorable and special. I couldn't be happier to welcome so many family and friends here today. Some of you have travelled from Canada, Italy, Luxembourg. Yeah, wait, you're over there somewhere, yeah? Sussex. The US. There she is. Yorkshire. To be here. And I really don't know who gets the bragging rights for the longest journey. No, time. Could be time in car. It means so much to see James and Nicole surrounded by so much love and joy as they start this new chapter of their lives together as husband and wife. Most of you know the bride as Nicole. To me, she's always been Nick. From the moment she came into my life, I knew everything was going to change, and the love I have for her knows no bounds. Nick has always been full of life, with a determination to get things done, a voice that refused to be ignored, and a curiosity that kept us on our toes. Even as a child, if you told Nick not to do something, she simply had to do it, including burning her fingers on a hot plate in an Indian restaurant after being told not to touch it. As is customary on these occasions, I'm going to share a couple of stories from her early life. Nick was born in Italy, and we lived there until she was 9 years old. As a young girl, she took great pride in her British heritage. Her English nana made sure she knew where she came from, and from the age of 2, she sent her weekly packages. Each one contained a Disney film or musical in English to help her learn the language. To this day, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers remains a firm favourite. I've lost count of how many times I've heard, "The pass is open, the pass is open." Her love of musicals hasn't changed either. It still remains top of the list, however, closely followed by Wicked. James knows all the lyrics to every song, and I wouldn't be surprised if one sneaks onto the playlist later. In those weekly parcels, there was always a pretty dress or two, and she became the best-dressed little girl in the neighbourhood. Her love of beautiful clothes hasn't changed, although she can now try them on and send them back. Like Evelyn, her auntie, she always had a passion for shoes and leopard print, much to James's consternation. As the collection grew, Nick and Evelyn were secretly competing to see who had the most. Her Italian nonna also knew about the packages and was not wanting to be left out, taught Nick how to cook Italian food, to make the best lasagna you'll ever taste, and passed on a love of greens that I definitely didn't give her. Nick picked up English with determination, and by the time we moved to England, she sounded like an English rose. In those early years, she gave us some family classics. Gravery for gravy, fire engine gin for fire engine, and where are my shoes on? These became family legends. And to this day, we still sometimes ask her to pass the gravery. Nick has certainly picked up a few things for me along the way, a love of travel and perhaps a touch of marketing talent, although hers is far surpasses mine. Travel has always been a passion. I've always thought of us as an international family. She was born in Rome, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, with an Italian father and an English mother. From a young age, she was multilingual and loved hopping on and off planes. When she grew up, or when she was growing up, I was the one dragging her onto flights to Africa, America, Germany, Hungary, Spain, Thailand, any excuse for new adventure. But as she grew older, the tables turned, and I found myself following her instead to Australia, Canada, Peru. Her love of travel never waned. As soon as she finished school, she went interrailing around Europe. During her studies, she spent time in Montreal, perfecting her French, and after completing her master's in London, she set off an incredible journey around Asia, Australia, Cambodia, Vietnam, and beyond. Many of her friends here today will no doubt have stories of adventures shared with Nick over the years. I'm not sure she's ever counted the countries she's visited, but I suspect she's fast becoming one of the most travelled people in the room. It was towards the end of COVID that James and Nick first met. Nick had spent New Year's Eve at home. You know some of this already because Hannah told us it. We didn't align on stories. Nick had spent New Year's Eve at home and declared she would never do that again. Determined to change that, she went online and matched with James the very next day. When she told me about him, I knew there was something different. There was a sparkle in her voice, lighter, happier, excited. James seemed to tick all the boxes. Tall, loves to travel, loves food, is chatty, very chatty, just like she is. Genuinely listens, is into fitness, and of course scrubs up well. He captured her heart from the start. Every time she came home from a date, she would beam as she told me about the picnic he organised or the restaurant he'd chosen. I first met James when Nick moved into Buckingham Place Road. I knew he was special because she was so eager to involve him in the move, and I was allowed to meet him so soon into the relationship. James came across as friendly, open, curious, charming, caring, and very engaging. I remember thinking, what a lovely man, and as I got to know him better, I could see exactly why he captured her heart. Since meeting James, they've been to 12 countries, learnt to make tagliatelle from scratch, developed a very healthy liking for English sparkling wine, adopted 2 kittens, climbed 3 mountains in as many continents, and sold 1 flat and a car. They also took their love of singing one step further by rewriting the lyrics of Pink Pony Club for my to Happy Birthday Linda for my 60th birthday. I only wish I had a recording of that duet. I was wondering if you'd do it again today. Through it all, they've encouraged each other to dream bigger, to have more confidence, to seek out happiness, and most importantly, to love deeply. James, you are the son I never had. When you asked if I had any objections to you having a special conversation with Nick, I couldn't have been happier, and you know that, because I knew you were going to make my daughter the happiest girl alive. Today isn't just about 2 people joining together, but 2 families as well. No, sorry. Sadly, on both sides, there are loved ones missing. Rolando, Nick's dad, Martin, James's dad, grandparents on both sides, and most recently my beloved sister Evelyn. I know they're all looking down on us today, smiling at the wonderful match Nick and James have made. To Maria, Liz, Louis, and Kim, thank you for welcoming Nicole into your hearts. Herbie, I, and the rest of the Ransom clan are delighted to welcome you into ours, James. Though I should warn you, we can be a tricky bunch. Good luck. What I know for sure, however, is that love is built on laughter, communication, patience, and mutual support. Seeing the love between Nicole and James is truly inspiring, and my wish for you both is that you always keep that spark of fun alive, continue exploring the world together, and never stop making each other smile. James, just nod and say yes. Nick, let him think it was his idea. I left it behind. So, everyone, let's raise a glass to love, laughter, travel, and a lifetime of happiness to Nicole and James.
Evening, everyone. I know that you've all been thanked a number of times for being here, but I wanted to emphasise my own heartfelt thank you for coming to celebrate with Nicole and I today. As has been said, and I might repeat a few other things that have been already said, it might be an intimate group, but you're the most important people, and we just wanted to be surrounded by those who have shaped our past and those who are most important to our future. I'm going to keep this relatively short because I know you're all just waiting to hear what Rohan and Pad have cooked up. But before I give them the floor, there's certainly a few people that I'd like to acknowledge. Linda, thank you for everything that you've done in the build-up to today. We couldn't have managed it without your generosity and support. I hope it's been everything that you dreamed of when you imagined Nicole's wedding day, and I promise to try to be everything that you hoped for when you imagined Nicole's future husband. We didn't have a conflab about speeches, because I've got here, do you remember the day we first met? I rocked up to Nicole's new flat on moving day. I was invited, I might add. She and I had only met a couple...
You asked about 5 times.
Can I come? She and I had only met a few weeks earlier, but she must have felt comfortable enough to invite me along to meet the most important person in her life. She probably wanted you to see my kindness, my generosity, my personability, my potential, my warmth, my great conversational skills. But you had other plans to test my suitability. You handed me a flat-pack lamp to put together. Now, this lamp came in all of about 6 parts, but I've never put something together with such care and precision and looked to somebody for affirmation of a job well done. Jokes aside, I love the fact that I got to meet you early on. After all, it was clear to me that you were, and still are, as I say, the most important person in Nicole's life. You've raised, with the support of your incredible family, the most wonderful person that I've ever met. Thank you for the bottom of my heart for everything that you've given her, all that you've helped Nicole to become, and for everything that I know you'll support us jointly with in the years to come. Yeah. And to my own wonderful mum. Thank you for everything that you've done to support us both. Not only in the lead up to today, but for making sure that we know, no matter what, that you'll be there for us unconditionally. Now, I use that word specifically because I've gotten to proudly watch it sink in for Nicole. And by it, I mean who you are. Sorry, I lost my place. Barely a month goes by without Nicole saying something like, "I can't believe your mum did that for us," or something like, "Has your mum always been like this?" And I get to proudly smile because I know the answer. My mum is and always will be there for us unconditionally. Thank you, and thank you to Liz, Louis, and Raj for all the sort of welcoming love that you've given Nicole and welcoming her into our little family. The love and care and generosity that you've shown her means the world to me. So thank you all. And finally, to our family and our friends. All of you. You've been our partners in laughter, mischief, and late night advice sessions. You may have helped us overcome some pretty bad difficulties, but you've also been there to help us make the happiest of memories, all of you. I particularly want to take a moment to thank Steph and Louise. Steph and Louise. And of course, an acknowledgement to Hannah as well, for all that you guys have done in the lead up to today. I'm sure you know how much you mean to Nicole, but in case you're in any doubt, I'm here to tell you that it's a lot. Nicole's already said her thank yous, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to say my own. So thank you for the love that you show her, and thanks also for the warmth that you've shown me over the years. And to these two fine gentlemen, Pat and Rohan, thank you doesn't really do justice to how I feel about our friendships. It was important to me to ask you both to share the role of best men today, not because I thought you could use the help, but because each of you have been especially important friends at different stages of my life. You represent my past, you certainly represent my present, and I've no doubt that you'll be a big part of our future. Thank you too, and thanks to the girls, for all that would have undoubtedly gone into the planning and expense of our stag and hen weekends. I know that my hungover face on the train back might not have particularly shown it, but I had the best time surrounded by my amazing friends, all of you, and I know Nicole felt equally grateful for everything that was organised for her weekend too, so thank you all. So we've done loads of thank yous. I too looked up tradition and saw that this might be a moment for a story or two. And I have to be careful because I already got scolded at home for oversharing in my answers to Nicole's hen weekend. The Mr. and Mrs. game, so I won't overshare. Therefore, I'll try to be a little more careful with this one. So for my friends and family, who are still getting to know Nicole's family, I thought I might share a little story which represents quite well the testing moments that some men go through when being introduced to a new family. This story begins on a long car journey from Sussex up to Huddersfield town. Linda, Nicole and I were on our way to visit Nicole's granddad, Julian. It was the first time I was getting to meet him, and I was quite looking forward to it. Not only because he meant so much to Nicole, Linda, and the whole family, but because I'd heard a lot about this special character. Julian had been having a few health concerns, but ever determined, he had been keeping up with his at-home exercises. Linda mentioned in the car that she had told him about my fitness background, and that he might like me to look over his program of exercise. Ever keen to make a good first impression, I of course said, yes, I would, if he asked. Well, not long after arriving, shaking hands and a really quick cup of tea in the kitchen, Julian turned conversation to his exercise regime, of course, as Linda had suggested he might, and asked me whether I'd mind looking over his routine and his equipment in the hallway. 5 minutes later, I was stood in Julian's cottage hallway with a man that I'd met just 10 minutes earlier stood in just his underpants, performing some of the most obscure and vigorous exercises I'd ever seen in my life. This wasn't the assessment of someone's equipment I had pictured. But Julian insisted on demonstrating every lunge, thrust, and swing in those underpants for the entirety of about an hour and a half. You'd be forgiven for wondering if this was a test, but it wasn't. Like, that's just what Nicole's family are like. They're genuine, they're direct sometimes, and they're just a little bit mental. Over the years, I've never been made to feel like Nicole's partner. I've always been included as a member of the family. And now it's official. No longer the future son-in-law, Poubelle is here to stay. And I could not feel prouder to be part of the Ransom family. So, thank you. And finally, to my wife. Nicole, you've given me more than you'll ever truly understand. I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to share with everyone a snippet of the words I wrote in your card this morning, because they represent exactly how you make me feel, and I'm proud to read them aloud. From our very first meeting, my life has felt different, brighter, lighter, and more exciting with you in it. From picnic dates and country walks to adventures all over the world together, I knew then, and I've known ever since, that you were the person I wanted to walk beside for the rest of my life. Whether we're hiking in Switzerland, wandering amongst new cities together, or simply curled up together at home on the sofa, nothing in this world, with Rolo and beans, nothing in this world feels more right than being with you. You've shown me what real love feels like. Safe, exciting, supportive, and full of laughter. You've helped me believe in myself and in us more than I ever thought was possible. Today, I don't just feel like the luckiest man alive, I truly am him, because I get to call you my wife. So with that, please join me in raising a glass to my beautiful wife, Nicole.
Oh, so lovely. That was lovely.
Cheers. Cheers.
Good evening, everyone. So for those of you who don't know us, my name's Rohan, and this is Pad.
Hello.
We have the honour of being James Wiltshire's best men for today. Firstly, on behalf of the lovely couple, I would love to welcome you to this beautiful venue that they've managed to find. Some people, when looking for a wedding venue, choose something close to home. Some people choose something with some sort of historical relevance to the couple themselves. Other people type in Wedding Venues UK into Google and then spend a year gallivanting around the country trying to find that special place.
So when Rohan and I first met the groom in secondary school, his witty primary school friends, shout out South Dover crew, had already given him the nickname which he would be known as for the rest of his life. And that imaginative nickname is his surname. But recently, things have changed. So the first person that we heard refer to Wiltsh as James, in all proper seriousness, was his now wife. We thought it was a little bit odd that she was referring to some fella called James for quite a while. Nicole, I think, even tried to introduce Jim for a little while, which was very bold, introducing a third name to the mix. I can't even remember it. It sticks strong in my memory. I have to say, we're both very glad that Jim didn't stick around as a name.
After a short amount of time of this blossoming relationship, and with the establishment of James as an actual name that people started calling him, we started to notice some slight changes to our friend, sort of like adaptations, minor sort of transformations. So the question is, who is the person that we know as Wiltsh, and who is this person, James? Wiltsh is a man of simple pleasures. He is satisfied with Pringles, salsa dip, and a Stella. He'd hit a Burger King, Subway, or Buddies after a night out,
Buddies.
and was well known to his local Chinese. At 2 a.m. on a park bench in Lewis, he even won the coveted "Who Can Make Them Throw Up First" competition after sinking tinnies in a park in Lewis.
James, though, thank goodness, has more refined tastes, shall we say. He's the guy that will crack raw egg yolks into a carbonara, just for that authentic Italian taste, of course. And James's newfound sophistication means that he can sniff out that most heinous of crimes, which is a mozzarella masquerading as a burrata. Not only can he tell the difference... Luckily, we had burrata this evening, otherwise there would have been murders, wouldn't there? But not only can he tell the difference, he now has the confidence to, in a restaurant, send it back not once, not twice, but 3 times, I believe it went back. Okay, fine. Well, we're giving you credit for that, so it's Linda then. You were cowering in the corner in reality, were you? But at least that particular restaurant incident was washed down with that very well-known Italian sparkling wine, which is, of course, a Franciacorta. Pronunciation any good there, Nicole? You'll let me get away with it, because it's a special occasion, will you?
Which, like, not bad, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Italian roots.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Wilch is the most competitive person we know. He wasn't afraid to put the boot in when playing football at lunchtime, and he'd even be known to cheat at a board game or two. Following injuries which took him out of his playing careers in football and rugby, mainly from over-exuberance in his ability to win a dance-off, he turned to less impactful sports.
Wilch found cycling. On Zwift, he became a stats geek. Watts, cadence, kilometres, much to Rohan's delight, to be fair. In preparation for a particular trip to the real Tour de France, you know where this is going, Wilch trained hard for the Alps. But when a heavy-built, 10-a-day smoker who just had steak and red wine for lunch cruised past Wilch up the mountain, as James... less gears. But it appears that the real world's proved much tougher than the virtual one for you. And as James passed out on the side of the road, James smiled through his delirious haze and cheered his friend on. Wilch, on the other hand, is still fuming about that particular situation.
James is less competitive. He mainly plays for the thrill of the game and ensures everyone is included. He is now more inclined to partake in a round of golf or a leisurely hike than putting himself against another team. We are reliably informed, however, that he's not bad at golf. For a beginner.
Give him that. James has found new ways to release the valve on his competitive spirit. Rather than attempting to beat you at a board game, he now spends more money than he would care to admit buying NFTs online. It's so rare that... Thanks, Sean. Cheers for that. That a man would have such enthusiasm spending his time and money collecting fake trading cards and building the most complete Brighton team online. James even went as far as getting his best collection framed in real life. However, the 5-foot frame that he put it in is going nowhere on the walls in their home. I don't think it ever will it, really? Let's face it. And look, for anyone who's willing to listen, I am sure the groom will be happy to tell you all about it, but Rohan and I will definitely not be putting you to sleep up here.
Wilch had more vocational careers as a young man. He tried it all. Lifeguarding, barman, gym manager, spin instructor, usually involving pizza after a pub shift, an obscene consumption of energy drinks, and trips down the M23 trying to source obscure vape flavours. But ultimately, Wilch wasn't happy.
James found his way to American Express. None of us are quite sure what you actually do there, But we do know that it involves a subsidised coffee and Amazon points. And it also involves an incredible enthusiasm for branded socks. Are you wearing some now? Have you got them on? No, I don't. Oh, well, real special occasion, that one. Real special occasion. But thanks to Nicole's support, his career at American Express involves genuine career progress. Although James can't quite believe why they'd want to promote him, the rest of us certainly can.
Wilch has always been known for his Cheshire Cat smile. A man who is always excited to see his friends. He's your biggest supporter in those big and small life moments, and will be there to pick you up when some of them maybe don't go quite to plan.
So the expectation here is maybe that James isn't this person, that James is now at the other end of the spectrum. But that's just not true. James's smile is even bigger. He's even more supportive. He's that guy that gives you the encouragement that turns your week or maybe even your year around. His heart has grown, and we know that that's because he's happier than he's ever been.
Don't get confused. Nicole hasn't changed our friend. She's brought out what we all knew was there. Someone confident, cultured, someone's written stylish here.
That wasn't me, this is your bit, mate.
Successful and most importantly, happy. We never thought we'd see the day when the groom would finish a walk in the same place that he started it, would choose to sunbathe by the pool over getting sweaty and playing spike ball, or would coo over his beloved kittens, Rolo and Beans, who seem to have got a lot of airtime
They've
today.
got a lot of airtime.
But with his loving wife by his side, this is who he is now. He embraces it with both arms, grinning from ear to ear. You would also be wrong in thinking that our competitive Pringle-loving friend has vanished. Wilch still lurks in the shadows, ready to bring an unhealthy amount of crisps and dips to the party, ready to throw a tantrum when you win £50 off him in a game of pool on his own stag, and always ready to throw a few quid at a high-reward accumulator.
So there's the truth. James and Wilch aren't two people. They are different qualities of the same man. He's a son, a brother, a true friend, and now a husband. Someone who cares deeply, who laughs loudly, but he'll still neck a pint with you at 1 a.m, but only because you dared him to. So many of you know I'm a bit of a spreadsheet geek myself, and my representation of this particular love equation is a James plus a Wilch plus Nicole is an outcome far more than the sum of its parts.
So we stand here today to celebrate every version of the man that we know and love. To the James of Barata and Franciacorta, is that better?
Who's better?
You're welcome, you're welcome. To the Wilch of fleeting rugby careers, failed mountain glory, and endless smiles. And to the man Nicole saw, loves, and simply calls James.
It gives us great pleasure and great pride to celebrate these two wonderful people on their wedding day. To Wilch, James, and to the wonderful Nicole. May the only thing you argue over be what to call him.
Now, for all those that can, please be upstanding.